Ogo Hikari Caustics. This is one of the test scenes, and I'm gonna check out this test scene, and I'm gonna check out this one as well. Okay, so let's start with this one. There's a lot of things to consider when it comes to Ogo Hikari. Well, a lot, well, depends on how you see it, I guess. But the bump is going to slow down the render, so I think I'm just going to turn that off. Actually, just let's have that on for now. Just going to see how it works out in VPR. And hey, you know, it doesn't crash in VPR, but if you do a change here anywhere, it'll crash. So you can use VPR, or at least at times when you preview this, but it will crash if you do any changes. So if you decide to VPR, let that be one of the last things you do, or switch back to texture shaded solid or something like that, and do the change and switch back to VPR. And even though if you do that, it might actually crash on you, so just be aware of that. But you can use VPR, and also it is possible to actually make a render of the VPR and save it out. It is possible, but I would recommend that would be the last thing you do. So for normal use, maybe you just want to do F9 instead. Let's see, we got classic here, and just a classic low, classic. It's kind of slow. What I found is that classic camera is actually slower than perspective. It's not always like that, but this plugin was created before the perspective camera was developed, so I guess that's a pretty good thing that actually perspective camera renders faster. So now, okay, this is a very small render, but I think it should work out pretty good. Because if I rotate this, it shouldn't flicker as far as I know. And you can see that they're very hard beams here. And that is very good. That's not possible to create in LightWave itself with LightWave Caustics. So classic low, classic 01. Okay, so this is pretty slow. This is 1 minute 13 seconds. Well, I mean, it's not that slow. This is pretty this is kind of like an advanced object, really. I mean, it does have caustics, and it does have non-flicker caustics as far as I know. It also have chromatic aberration on this object and this object. So 1 minute 40 seconds. I think that's not all that bad. It's a heavy render after all. But let's go to perspective camera. Try to render it and see if we get a speed increase here. Okay, so it's about 12 seconds now, and it's done with this. So I estimate that you will actually save well, I think the render will be sort of like twice as fast or something like that. The last render was 100 seconds, and this one well, not completely 100 seconds, but pretty good. Well, not completely half of it. So 140 was the last one. Actually, this seems to be going a bit slower than I thought. But anyway, do use perspective because it will be faster. One of the reasons I think is that it looks like it looks to have the same render time here, but at least for many of my tests it was quite a lot faster, so just leave it to that. And also I do have, let's see, classic, let's try if that makes a change. Probably not, but okay, and then it renders. Let's see how fast that one might be a bit faster as well, but I think this is too high. Let's try this instead. I would recommend to do a lot of post work when dealing with this, unless you're just doing really small or short animations. And also, if you're doing stills, then this might not be the plugin for you. You might want to use Octane or something like that instead to get a really good result. But well, I'm quite satisfied with the anti-aliasing. I'm just going to turn this off actually. Just for when test rendering, it's not really necessary. I can also use OLM anti-aliasing, so pulsed anti-aliasing could work as well. So you could get quite low render times if you choose to go the pulsed way. So at least I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And I think also that this should be flicker free. I'm not 100% sure, but okay, let's just turn off bump because I think that actually increased the render time. Anyway, I'm just going to turn it off. I'm not going to have that one on. So 17 was what we had. Now it's down to slightly faster. Well, not that much. But I like to go that way around about it. I like to decrease the render time as much as possible and then pump it up instead of going the other way around. So well, if you looked at the first result we had, it was 1 minute 40 seconds. Of course, it was better, but now we're down to okay, now we're down to 20, 30. Okay. Let's see if this works. 0, 1. I did get a really fast render time earlier on, but damn if I can remember what I did. 1. Nah, not sure really. Okay, but I seem to remember that I actually got faster render time when no, I'm confusing two things. But anyway, that's not too bad of a render time. I'm confusing this with a hypervoxel stuff from Ogo Hikari. What can we do to slow or to speed this up further? Okay, now we haven't really looked at the shader itself. For this one, you got inside and outside. So this is actually 2 polygons. This is a clone. The main object and a near object, like you did in the old times to make this work. For the ground, well, that's just the ground. Ground has the ground is actually has caustics applied to it as well. So you can see here caustics quality 4. Let's just set that to 1 and see what happens. Actually, that's just gonna cast 1 color, so it's not really all that. Here we go. Quality 2. Quality 3. So actually you can see that if you're doing stuff that doesn't need to be too accurate, you can actually get a pretty cool effect. So if you got like tons of caustics in a scene, you could actually use this effect. Okay, let's pump that up to 5. And you'll see that the render time, of course, increases. But overall, I think it's pretty good. I just want to see if it creates flicker-free renders. So I think maybe I can just turn this one off. Let's see what happens. Okay, there we go. So now it's still got caustics here. Doesn't look the same, of course, but still got caustics, and it rendered in 3 seconds instead of in 9, 10. So you can see there's quite a big difference. That was 27 seconds against 3 seconds. So you can save time doing this or that. Okay, let's just try to create an animation and see what happens. See if actually we can make this work somehow. If it flickers or not. Okay, so I got this one. It's actually 2 polygons on top of each other, sort of, but it's one object. So in order to edit it, you would go to Modeler and you would see that there are actually 2 objects on top of each other. But in this case, I'm just going to do something very, very simple. I'm just going to rotate it at, let's see, I could just go here, go like that, 90 degrees, and let's see how it looks animated. Maybe I should just do a VPR render. In that case, I'm just going to click F3 or something like that. I need to close this one. Shouldn't have to. Yeah, press the wrong button, of course. Okay, so here we are, and I'll go to VPR, and looks slightly different. So I'm not really sure if this is the right way to do it, but hey, what the hell, right? Preview options, animation file, desktop, save animation, AVI. I think that's okay. So, all right. Remember to save because this could crash. Make preview. Frame step, I'll leave that to 1 for now. And we'll just render this. Oh, okay. Let's see what happens. So far, so good. No crashes yet. Frame 38. And about 20 to go. Okay, looks to be done. I don't think I'm going to launch the file itself. I think I'm just going to play this. Hey! No jitter. That's pretty cool. So I'm not sure if that's because, excuse me, I'm not sure if that's because I'm not using GI on this. Now, you cannot use GI, regular GI, on this surface because this surface is an Ogo Hikari surface. So if you do that, then you'll have to use Post. On the other hand, Ogo Hikari does have its own radiosity tab and radiosity option, which works all right. So it might be something to test or check. I might do some other previews on this later on. Right now I just don't have the time. I'm catching a train. But as you can see, there's no flicker here, so it's damn good actually. And also this is a low-res object. So by pumping this up, you shouldn't get these artifacts right here, I believe. And this floor object is using chromatic aberration. You can see a bit red here. And also this object is using chromatic aberration. And of course I can pump up that quality if I want to. But I think I'll just leave it at this for now. But that's a nice surprise, I guess, that it actually works. So I'll end this preview right here. I think I'm just going to try one more thing, one more file, and then call it the day. And it didn't crash on me. Okay, cool. So I have this scene right here. No. And there we go, it crashed. Okay, so yeah, and that's because, well, like I said, it can crash. So I probably should have turned this one VPR off first and then launched it. So checking out that other file. And I'm not sure why there's two of these guys, but I don't know. I guess I could just delete one of them. 1 second. Okay, so there we have it, one instead. Renders faster. And I pressed F5. Stupid me. That's what I'm talking about. You can't do that kind of stuff when working with this. You have to turn off VPR first. Okay, I just wasn't a really big fan of the checker background, but then again, I guess that really showed the chromatic aberration better. Okay, so I guess I'll get back to this scene later on. Let's see if I can move the camera though without this crashing. And yeah, it looks like it. Looks like I can pan around and stuff, just not hit any button. So but we'll look more at the options you have later on, because you can create some pretty interesting stuff. Okay, so this is the floor texture, and does not use radiosity. Okay, caustics, quality 3, but here's, you got adaptive random here. Let me just zoom in. Okay, let's just go like that. And this is the cost under group 1. You got the caustics and the quality and stuff and the settings. And let's just turn on VPR to see what we got. We got this, and you can see how this operates, how this creates this caustics effect. I mean the chromatic aberration effect. A good thing about this is that in the Nitisara plugin, you'll see that it uses motion blur, so you get this artifact around the sphere, and that doesn't occur in this case. So that's good about using Ogo Hikari Caustics. Also, it doesn't flicker as far as I've tested. So again, turn off VPR when doing a change. And now I got adaptive random. I'm going to change for adaptive spider net, and you'll see a change here. Actually, not as much as I thought it would be, but that's because of these settings, I guess, and the caustics angle. Too much of a shadow here, so I'm going to try to fix that, turn that off. Might be better for me actually to use this right now, just to see what I'm doing. I'm going to turn down this angle, or no, I think actually I should turn it. Let's try to turn it up. You see that this is bigger, but this is too blurred, so I'm going to turn that up. And now you can see that we got some interesting stuff going on here. Dark sharpness, I can never remember this one. Oh yeah, that's the sharpness of the shadow itself. Okay, so but you'll see that there's a big difference between using now this is because of the angle of it and stuff, but you'll see there's actually a big difference between adaptive random and adaptive spider net. going to look at a bit at that later on, but these are the ones that I find the best. So this is the default one. And you can see that it creates this kind of, it's more jittery. So in order to get away, to make that, remove that, you have to lower the sharpness of it. But then that creates a different style. So the alternative is to use a spider net and pump this up a bit, and you'll get a quite different result. But it might be more in the lines of what you want. I think the maximum you can put this is 16, yeah. So anyway, this has been a too long preview already, so I'll just leave it at that for now.